Good morning and shalom from the wonder of Torah. Today we're going to continue searching for the wonders of Yahuwah's love in Torah. And today we are going to talk about the wonder of Yahuwah's love. So we're going to look at aspects in scriptures where Yahweh uses love or looks at love. We will look at some variations of it and just enjoy and learn about Yahweh. We're going to start off with Genesis 1 verse 26. And Elohim said, "Let us make man in our image, according to our likeness, and let them rule over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the heavens, and over the livestock, and over all the earth, and over all the creeping creatures that creep on the earth." I think it's important to understand where we stand in our relationship with Abba. When we have a normal human family, we have the husband and the wife, or the dad and the mom, and then we have children. And if I may say it in this way, there is a pecking order, whether we are in a home situation, when we are in a school on the playground situation, whether we are at work. And so also there is in our relationship with Abba. Abba is first. Then you've got Yahusha. And then you've got the angels, of course. And then you've got man. And then man, who is at the top of the pecking order on earth. Because that's why Abba said that we will rule over all these animals. It's our job to look after and care for. And when I talk about pecking order, I don't mean this in a bad way. I mean it that there is responsibilities for the different levels. In our relationship to Abba being at the top of the pecking order on earth, is our responsibility to look after Abba's creation. So also is the dad responsibility for his family, towards his wife and towards his children. Now I'm sure anybody that listens and who is part of a family experiences love, either from my love for my wife and my love to my children, and my wife experiences my love towards her, and my children experiences my love towards them, and the other way around again, how I experience my love of my wife, and I experience the love of my children towards me. So we have a relationship, a loving relationship with our Creator, our Father, our Abba. So we have to see it, excuse me, how the relationship influences our love. Now, having mentioned the wife and also the mother, let's look at Genesis 2 verse 7. And Yahweh Elohim formed the man out of dust from the ground and breathed into his nostrils breath of life. Very important. Abba created life. He breathed out his air into mankind. And the man became a living being. Now, if we look at that, Abba's name is Yahweh. And if you will look on the screen now, you'll see the name of Yahweh. And then you will see H2332, which is the name of the woman, Joh, which means life giver. And I find it so beautiful to see that Abba has put his name in Joh, because Yahuwah is the giver of life. But the Yod is left out, and then he gave Joh's name, who is the first mother, the mother of all. Beautiful, beautiful. How Abba, these little things that can make such a difference. Beautiful. Right, so let's go to Exodus 3 verse 15. And Elohim said further to Moshe, thus you are to say to the children of Israel, Yehua, Elohim of your fathers, the Elohim of Avram, the Elohim of Yitzhak, and the Elohim of Yaakov, has sent me to you. This is my name forever. And now listen, and this is my remembrance to all generations. His name. Now, through his name, he has given us life. He is the life giver. Now, through his name, everything existed or is created. And that I find so beautiful. His love encompasses everything. And once we have that connection with Abba, calling to him in his beautiful name, realizing that by his name we are loved, we cared for, we protected, life is given to us. So beautiful, so wonderful. So, I've written some things here that Yahuwah's name will do. He loves, he heals, he protects, he provides, he strengthens, he cares, he creates, he judges, he punishes. All by his name. And this is just some, there's obviously a lot more. Now, the key to our relationship to Yahuwah's love and understanding a relationship with him, we read in Isaiah 56 verse 6. Also, the sons of the foreigner who joins themselves to Yahuwah to serve him and to love the name of Yahuwah, to be his servants, all who guard the Sabbath and not profane it and hold fast to my covenant. So there's a whole lot of important things that we have to do, is to serve him, to love his name, to guard the Sabbath, not to profane it, to hold fast to his covenant. But to love the name of Yahuwah. If we know his name and we love his name, doors are opening. So wonderful. So, love starts with Yahuwah. Now, there are other forms of love. The scripture uses words such as beloved. We read in Nehemiah 13:26, did not Shlomo, sovereign of Israel, sin because of them? Among the many nations there was no sovereign like him, who was beloved of his Elohim. And Elohim made him sovereign over all Israel. Even him foreign woman caused to sin. Now, I do not want to go on about the last part of the verse. But can you hear? Shlomo, the son of David, who was the beloved of Elohim. And Abba blessed him with so much wisdom. There was no one ever, before or after, like Shlomo, except Yahusha, of course. And now this one I find so special. It's not long ago that Abba revealed this in such an amazing way to me. I always found it difficult when I pray and worship Yahuwah, and when a song sings, the friend of Yah. I never see myself in a position as being friend, because we as humans, a friend is something that you trust, which is what we have with Yahusha, of course, or with Yahuwah. But friend is like your equal, and we know we're not equal to Abba. But Abba sees more into the word friend. Listen to the following. It's so beautiful. So when do we become Yahuwah's friend? 2 Chronicles 20 verse 7. Are you not our Elohim? You have driven out the inhabitants of this land before your people Israel, and gave it to the seed of Abraham, your friend, forever. Abraham was Yahuwah's friend. So what made Abraham so special? Let's read the following in James 2:23. And the scripture was filled, which says, Abraham believed Elohim, and it was reckoned to him for righteousness, and he was called Elohim's friend. Abraham was righteous. There's another key now. Although the Torah wasn't given, or the Ten Commandments, the 2 tablets of stone wasn't given in the time of Abraham, Abraham was obedient. Therefore, he would have been Torah observant. Okay, because he was righteous. Now, listen to the next one. John 15 verse 15. No longer do I call you servants, for a servant does not know what his master is doing. But I have called you friends. Listen. For all teachings which I have heard from my Father, I have made known to you. Isn't that just amazing? We are Yahusha and Yahuwah's friend because we know we have the knowledge, the Torah. And how do we receive the knowledge of the Torah? By His Spirit that indwells us. He becomes part of us. Then we are His friends. That is so fantastic. Knowing and obeying His truth, His Torah, we become His friend because we have the knowledge. Isn't that incredible? Beautiful. Wow. Okay, and let's look at some other ones. There was a word, when my daughter was little, she was growing up, we always told our daughter, we love you. And she always responded, I like you. She didn't quite understand the concept or the difference between like and love. She knows she likes ice cream. She knows she likes whatever it is, her toys. But she also likes to be with us and be in our presence and to play with us. And she put that all under the umbrella of like. Now it's different, of course. She's now 18 years old. But it's understanding and having the knowledge. I've got my my favorite, or my friend coming visit me again. Okay, his name is Tola. Yes, Tola. Okay. So liking or to like is a form of experiencing joy, which love will give us. But I couldn't find in the scriptures a word using like, but I could find one in the King James. And the Hebrew number for that is, or the H number is 7521, and it is liketh. And the verse goes as follows. I'll read the verse from the scriptures. Yet Yehua Elohim of Israel chose me above all the house of my father to be sovereign over Israel forever. For he has chosen Yehuda to be the ruler. And of the house of Yehuda, the house of my father, and among the sons of my father, he was pleased. Now in the King James it says, liketh there. So he was pleased with me to make me reign over all Israel. The Hebrew word for that specific one is Ratzah, and it basically means to be pleased with. Okay, so that is the word like, or to be pleased with. Another word the scriptures uses is lovely. We would understand it in a certain way as, we have lovely weather. It is something that we experience, that we enjoy. Scripture sees it quite similar. We read in Ezekiel 33 verse 32, and see, you are to them as a very lovely song of one who has a pleasant voice and playing well on an instrument. And they hear your words, but they do not do them. Again, not the last part of the verse that we're paying attention to, but it refers to a very lovely song, so it's something that's enjoyable and pleasant. And if you keep all these different words that we're using in mind, your relationship with Yahweh, like, it's nice to be busy in His Word. I enjoy it. It's pleasant. But there is, of course, also certain words used in a different and a more negative form. So let's look at Philippians 4 verse 8. For the rest, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is righteous, whatever is clean, whatever is lovely, whatever is good, of good report, if there is any uprightness and if there is any praise, think on these. These are just another verse describing lovely in different ways. Then we get to lover, and this is what I was thinking of when I was talking just now. This can have a bit of a bad reputation in Scripture, the word lover. So there will be a negative and a positive on that. We read Hosea 2 verse 13, and I shall punish her for the days of the Baals, to which she burned incense and adorned herself with her rings and jewelry, and went after her lovers, and forgot me, declares Yahweh. And then also 2 Timothy 3 verse 2, I think it's not very clearly printed. For men shall be lovers of self, lovers of money, boasters, proud, blasphemous, disobedient to parents, thankless, wrongdoers, etc. So, let's look at Isaiah 56 verse 10. His watchmen are blind, all of them, they have not known. All of them are dumb dogs, unable to bark, dreaming, lying down, loving to slumber. Right, let's have a look at the word kindness. Now, we know that we are commanded to love our neighbor, and therefore we will be kind, because that would be one of those things that we do when we love our neighbor. So we read in Psalm 33 verse 3, loving righteousness and right ruling, the earth is filled with the kindness of Yahweh. Oh, praise Yah, wonderful. And also then loving kindness, Deuteronomy 7 verse 9, and you shall know that Yahweh your Elohim, He is the Elohim, the trustworthy El, guarding covenant and kindness for 1,000 generations with those who love Him and those who guard His commands. Again, these two verses, the loving kindness of the kindness of Yahuwah that will fill all the earth. And then this is probably the most known verse, especially in Christianity, but it is a beautiful verse. This is the greatest love, the love of Yahuwah. John 3:16. For Elohim so loved the world that He gave His only brought forth Son, so that everyone who believed in Him should not perish, but have everlasting life. That act of love that Yahuwah gave His Son to make it possible for us to be with Him. That love that He has for us, that He was willing to do that. That is such a great concept, so huge. To try and fathom that kind of love, I don't think we can. Maybe one day when we're with Him. Love is expected from Yahuwah. In Matthew 22:36, this is what Yahuwah is saying, or Yahusha is saying, answering a question. The question was, Teacher, which is the great command in the Torah? So what does Abba expect of us? And Yahusha said, you shall love Yehua your Elohim with all your heart, with all your being, and with all your mind. This is the first and the great command. Can you see that expectation? Abba does not expect just a loving feeling. He expects complete love that encompasses our every aspect of our being. And then he carries on the second, who is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. Again, whatever you will do to your neighbor, make sure that is something that you would want to have done to you. And then he says, on these two hang all the Torah and the prophets. Yahuwah's commandments is his perfect love. His commands that teaches us to love, that expects love from us to him. I made a note here, the love of Yehua, referring to the commandments, is the perfect love, signed with his name and sealed with the Sabbath. Isn't that just awesome? And he uses his name and he puts it on our foreheads, that the enemy cannot take it. I want to read a section from Colossians 1 Corinthians 13, where the scripture talks about love. So I'm not going to talk too much through it, but please listen or get your scriptures and follow. This is Yahuwah's way when he talks about love. If I speak with tongues of men and of messengers, but do not have love, I have become as a sounding brass or a clanging cymbal. And if I have prophecy, and know all secrets, and all knowledge, and if I have all belief, so as to remove mountains, but do not have love, I am none at all. And if I give out all my possessions to feed the poor, and if I give my body to be burned, but do not have love, I am not profited at all. Love is patient, kind. Love does not envy. Love does not boast, is not puffed up, does not behave indecently, does not seek its own, is not provoked, reckons not the evil, does not rejoice over the unrighteousness, but rejoices in truth. It covers all, believes all, expects all, endures all. Love never fails, and whether there be prophecies, they shall be inactive, or tongues they shall cease, or knowledge it shall be inactive. For we know in part, and we prophesy in part. But when that which is perfect has come, then that which is in part shall be inactive. When I was a child, I spoke as a child. I thought as a child, I reasoned as a child. But when I became a man, I did away with the childish matters. For now we see in a mirror, dimly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then I shall know, as I also have been known. And now, belief, expectation, and love remain. These three, but the greatest of these is love. So important to know Abba, to know Yehua, to know love. Ephesians 2 verse 4, we read, but Elohim, who is rich in compassion, because of his great love with which he loved us. Galatians 2 verse 20, I've been impaled with Mashiach, and I no longer live, but Mashiach lives in me. And that which I now live in the flesh, I live by belief in the Son of Elohim, who loved me and gave himself for me. That is so huge. Praise Yah. 2 Corinthians 13 verse 14. the favor of the Master Yahushua Mashiach, and the love of Elohim, and the fellowship of the set-apart Spirit be with all of you. Amen. So wonderful, isn't it? That fellowship with Yahushua and fellowship with you. What does the scriptures requires of ourselves, our own? We read in Deuteronomy 10 verse 12 and 13, and I close with this. And now, Israel, what is Yehua your Elohim asking of you? But to fear Yehua your Elohim, to walk in all his ways, and to love him, and to serve Yehua your Elohim with all your heart and with all your being. To guard the commands of Yehua and his laws, which I command you today, for your own good. Shalom. Till next time, when we discover some more wonders of Torah. Baruch haba b'shem Yehua.